A scalding bath leaves a young boy near death, but his will to live and the care of doctors give him a second chance. Amazing stories of brave children and remarkable people at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. Stories of courage and hope. These are children's heroes. Hello, I'm Keisha Cooper. In this half hour, you'll meet a child who's overcome remarkable odds with the help of state-of-the-art medical care at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. A young boy with burns to more than 70% of his body. You'll also meet some unique professionals at the hospital who look out for a child's best interest when no one else can. You'll learn what you can do at home to prevent your kids from getting severely burned, and how you can help fund burn education programs by calling now. First, let's meet Howard, a young boy with an incredible will to live, and the hospital staff who cared for him as their own.
The call first came in shortly after 8 o'clock, shortly after the start of our shift. It was Sunday and it was Mother's Day, and we were sent out to meet a uniformed squad regarding the child that had been burned.
The child, a 7-year-old boy, had left the paramedics by the time Officer Mullen arrived at the scene.
We realized that we had a very serious burn here, that a lot of his skin was missing from his body.
A scalding bath at the hands of his mother had left 7-year-old Howard with severe burns from mid-waist to the soles of his feet. Second and third degree burns on more than 70% of his body.
She held him down in the tub as he tried to get out. Finally, he said the water was too hot. She felt the water, realized it was, and then helped him out of the tub, but by then it was too late. The skin was already starting to come off of his body.
As police arrested Howard's mother, paramedics rushed the young boy to a local hospital, but doctors there soon realized Howard needed more specialized care, the kind of care he could only get at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin.
This is the only place in town that has a pediatric intensive care unit, so we take care of those critically ill children.
Dr. Reiner Gedeit treats hundreds of kids every year. He was the first doctor to see Howard when he was transferred to Children's Hospital.
With 75% burns, there was a significant chance that he was not going to survive this. We knew we had to be very aggressive in his resuscitation and giving him fluids in order to correct his shock that he was in. I remember vividly that when I was there talking to him, the first thing he said, he was hungry and he wanted a hamburger. Here's this child who's got 75% burns on his body, and he asked me for a hamburger.
Despite moments of consciousness, Howard wasn't out of the woods. Once resuscitated, his fight continued in the pediatric intensive care unit, but doctors say the odds were still against him.
People with severe burns, such as Howard had 75% burns, have a very high chance of dying, not only from their initial injury, but from infections down the line.
Howard's flesh was raw and swollen.
He had so much burn and swelling in his legs that it impaired the blood flow to his feet and his toes.
To prevent Howard's feet or toes from requiring amputation due to a lack of blood flow, Dr. Arun Gosain had to surgically relieve that pressure by cutting through the skin and tissue.
We treat a lot of burn injuries, but I would say this was the most severe burn injury that we had treated to date when I saw Howard.
Grafting Howard's skin would be their next challenge. How would they cover 75% of his body with only his remaining good skin?
It can't be done by conventional techniques, so we had to start thinking right away of ways by which to expand his available skin.
One way, actually grow new skin in a lab. Dr. Gosain harvested small amounts of Howard's skin from under his armpit. It was sent to a lab and grew in a culture dish. Another way, stretching Howard's good skin to make more out of what little was available.
His back was the best skin on his body, and we put a tissue expander in his back and stretched that over about 3 months. So it's very much like pregnancy. Pregnancy you would think would hurt, you're stretching the skin so much, but it's done so gradually that it's really not a painful process.
Children's Hospital began to feel like home to Howard. Wheeling about in his chair, he'd find lots of friends to play with. Now Howard is ready to say goodbye to the staff at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, his home for the past 9 months. But where would Howard go? Remember, his mother had been jailed for scalding him in the tub. Hospital staff made it their business not only to help Howard heal, but make certain when he left their care, he'd be in good hands.
So it was very important to get a foster home for Howard that could provide him with a nurturing, caring environment, but could also meet his medical needs.
After dozens of surgeries to graft his skin, Howard no longer needed constant care from the staff at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin.
Oftentimes when children have that degree of body surface area burn, survival is questionable.
With the help of Children's Hospital staff, Howard fought off death, possible infection, and amputation. Although still not expected to ever walk, Howard was now well enough to leave. While at the hospital, Howard made friends with Kathy Ardolini,
Child advocacy.
and Kathy called some of her friends.
She said that there's a little boy at Children's Hospital who was pretty badly burned, and they're looking for a foster home for him.
It wasn't really our decision. It was like, how could we not? He was ready and willing to come, and all we had to do was accept him.
I'm gonna go right there.
That was more than 3 years ago. Today, Howard is no longer Gary and Meg's foster child. He's part of the family. They adopted Howard last fall.
I mean, we saw someone that needed us, and we knew that we would not have to sacrifice very much for this little guy.
What I like about my new home is that I have a dog to play with, some brothers and sisters, a mom and dad, and the playground right next to me.
Inside, we knew that he would be able to walk, and Howard told us that he'd be able to walk, so we believed him.
Oh, yes, indeed. Howard walks and runs everywhere, and runs just about everything, too.
Let's go, Digimon! Let's go, Maddie!
I always wonder if this is the same boy we started with, because I wouldn't have expected when we first met him that he would have had such a successful outcome today. I often have to look at the pictures and remind myself that this is the same boy.
Looking back helps them gauge just how far they've come.
It was scary. I mean, it was hard. I mean, he was a very medically needy little sad little boy.
The toughest thing I had to deal with, or the family had to deal with Howard, was not knowing his pain.
Howard's progress came gradually. At this Children's Hospital event with the Packers, Brent Favre cast aside Howard's crutches, and a wobbly Howard hiked the ball, then celebrated with his hero.
And Howard had 2 goals, and one goal was to go to school, because he was never in school before. I mean, Howard couldn't even write his name. He didn't know his ABCs, and he was 7 years old.
The other goal, to reach the top of this slide with his friends Jimmy and Billy.
Look at where he is now. Not many people can look death in the face and go beyond. Not many people that have been so severely hurt like he has can go on with his attitude and be so positive and keep fighting.
Hi, Howard. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Doctor.
What have you been up to?
Nothing much.
Howard must keep fighting. Though his progress is remarkable, his treatment continues.
How about the pain? Do you have some pain in the balls of your feet at all?
Sometimes.
Okay. Howard's treatment is lifelong, particularly his therapy, because the skin that we've put there is now transferred from other areas. It will always have a tendency to constrict somewhat. He has shown remarkable progress, mostly because of his own determination and his own resilience to the significant injury that he had. A lot of children would not give us that kind of effort, but Howard was an exception, and that's why he's done as well as he has today.
His new parents shudder at what could have been and marvel at Howard's incredible recovery.
It's all due to Children's Hospital, the care that he got there from the nurses and the staff.
The advantage that we have at this hospital is not just our resurfacing of burns, which I'm sure others could have done at other centers, but our ability to take care of young children who are very acutely ill, and I think that's unique.
Howard's grafted skin lacks elasticity. As he continues to grow, he'll need more surgery and more therapy.
I think it's the next 5 to 6 years that will be the most important time for that therapy, because that's when most of his growth will take place.
Here, Jimmy.
Howard wants to play professional basketball, and believe me, if anybody could, I mean, this little guy would. But even some of his dreams that evolve around sports, I mean, I don't know how his body will be able to take it.
It seems Howard's will to live knows no limits. He continues to reach for his dreams. Now 11 years old, Howard has triumphed over tragedy. Once clinging to life, now embracing it. What a great kid. He's come a long way thanks to his determination and his care at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. You can help kids like Howard by supporting Children's Hospital in its efforts to help even more kids. Become one of Children's heroes by calling the number on your screen or log on to our website at chw.org and pledge your financial support. On behalf of Children's Hospital of Wisconsin and our heroes like Howard, thank you for watching, but most importantly, thank you for helping.